Pocket pairs preflop. You are going to play a lot of hands online, and pocket pairs are where many players quietly torch expected value. They either overvalue the hand because it is a pair, or they underplay it by clicking call and praying for a set. Neither approach scales when you are multi-tabling, paying rake, and facing opponents who understand ranges. Here's the truth that keeps your win rate clean. Relative strength is everything. A pocket pair is not one category. It is a sliding scale of equity, playability, and domination risk that changes with position, stack depth, and who is left to act. Stop thinking pair, start thinking tiers. Before we talk actions, you need a mental hierarchy. In online poker games, decisions happen fast, so you want a simple tiered model that maps to clear pre-flop plans. First, high pairs, pocket jacks to pocket aces. Comfortable for value, comfortable to 3-bet, and they win unimproved often. Second, middle pairs, pocket sevens to pocket tens. Profitable but sensitive to position and squeeze risk. These hands hate getting flatted behind. Third, small pairs, pocket twos to pocket sixes. They rarely win unimproved versus multiple opponents. Their value comes from leveraging fold equity and realizing equity smartly, not from set mining. Context dictates strategy. The same pocket fives is a raise from the button, a mixed decision under the gun, and often a disciplined fold facing a cold 3-bet when rake is high and stacks are shallow. Open raising with pocket pairs. Your default pre-flop posture with pocket pairs should be proactive. If you are the first in, you generally prefer raising over limping because you buy initiative and deny equity. Passive pre-flop lines give opponents cheap realization, and that is exactly how you donate to the rake structure on most online sites. From early position, you open tighter because who is left to act matters. There are simply more ways to get punished by 3-bets, cold calls, and multi-way pots, where your pair becomes a bluff catcher. First, under the gun, open all high pairs, most middle pairs, and mix the smallest pairs depending on table aggression and rake. If you are in a tough pool, pocket twos to pocket fours can become marginal opens at 100 big blinds. Second, middle and late position, open essentially all pocket pairs. Your positional edge improves realization, and you can apply pressure post-flop with C-bets and delayed barrels. Third, small blind, tighten your opens and shift toward raise or fold. Completing with small pairs is a leak in many online environments because you invite the big blind to realize for cheap, then you play out of position in a raked pot. This is not always raise. It is an expected value claim. A raise earns money from folds, isolates weaker ranges, and creates more profitable continuation lines when you miss. Facing an open, call, or 3-bet. When somebody opens and you have a pocket pair, you need to decide if the hand benefits more from taking initiative or from seeing a flop efficiently. Online, you cannot blindly default to call because the pool squeezes more, and rake punishes small edge multi-way pots. Use 3 filters. First, position. In position, you can call more because you realize equity better. Out of position, your calling range should tighten and your 3-bet range should sharpen. Second, opponent type. Versus a NIT, your 3-bet gets less action and their 4-bet range is stronger. Versus a calling station, 3-betting for value with pocket tens and pocket jacks prints. Versus a maniac, trapping with calls can be fine, but you still need a plan for pressure post-flop. Third, stack depth. At 100 big blinds, 3-bet pots matter because commitment decisions happen quickly. Deeper stacks increase implied odds, but they also increase the cost of being dominated and outplayed out of position. Here's a clean heuristic. Pocket jacks and better wants a lot of 3-betting for value. Pocket nines to pocket tens often mixes based on position and opener tendencies. Pocket twos to pocket eights tends to prefer calling in position versus reasonable sizes, but should sometimes 3-bet as a squeeze or exploit when fold equity is high. Anti-hope. Poker, the real truth about set mining. You will hear players justify passive calls with small pairs as set mining. That thinking is too shallow for modern online games. The math is only part of it. Yes, you flop a set about 1 in 8.5 times, but you do not get paid in full every time. You sometimes get stacked by higher sets, and you often fold the best hand on scary runouts when you took a weak line. The strategic problem is bigger. If you call only to hit a set, you are announcing that you plan to under-realize your equity when you miss. Good opponents exploit that by betting relentlessly and forcing you to fold too much. You need additional ways to win pots, like floating in position, attacking capped ranges, and occasionally turning your pair into a bluff in the right textures. Think like this. With pocket fives, you can win in 3 ways. You can flop a set, you can win at showdown when boards run low, or you can win by forcing folds with well-timed aggression. If your strategy only includes the first path, you are playing hope poker. Squeeze risk and multi-way reality. Most expected value mistakes with pocket pairs come from ignoring the players behind. Calling an open with pocket 8s on the button can be fine, but not if the small blind is a strong regular who squeezes 5% and the big blind is a squeeze-happy maniac. In that environment, flatting becomes a trap you set for yourself. When you anticipate squeezes, you have 2 strong adjustments. First, 3-bet yourself more often. You deny the blinds an easy squeeze and you keep the pot heads up more frequently. Second, fold more with small pairs in marginal spots, especially when rake is meaningful and you are out of position. Multi-way pots also change your pair value. A hand like pocket 9s shrinks quickly when 3 players see a flop because your overpair is rarely the nuts, and your ability to bet and take it down falls off dramatically. Hand scenario, the squeeze trap pocket 8s. Game, 100 NL online, 100 big blinds effective. You are multi-tabling and playing a fairly standard strategy. Hero, small blind with 8 of hearts, 8 of clubs. Villain. Button is a calling station who opens wide and hates folding post-flop. Villain 2. Big blind is a maniac who squeezes aggressively and barrels often. Pre-flop. Button opens to 2.3 big blinds. You call in the small blind. Big blind squeezes to 11 big blinds. Button calls. Action back to you. This is the exact spot where bad set mining logic burns stacks. You are out of position, facing a squeeze, and a loose caller has come along. If you call, you are paying a big price with a hand that flops 1 pair most of the time in a bloated pot where your realization is awful. Best plan in most pools is to fold. Yes, you are getting a price, but price is not the same as expected value. You will face high pressure on many boards, your equity realization will be capped, and rake will eat the thin edges. Suppose you fold and watch the flop come jack of spades, 7 of diamonds, 3 of clubs. You would have had an underpair in a 3-bet multi-way pot versus ranges that have overpairs, top pairs, and strong draws. Folding preflop was not tight, it was professional. Practical defaults you can execute fast. You need a system you can run quickly while multi-tabling. Here are solid defaults that hold up in most online pools. First, open-raise your pocket pairs when folded to you. Avoid limping, especially in the small blind. Second, 3-bet pocket jacks and better aggressively for value. Mix pocket 10s and pocket 9s based on position and villain tendencies. Third, flat more with small and middle pairs when you have position. The opener is not too tight and squeeze risk behind is low. Fourth, fold small pairs more often versus cold. 3 bets when out of position and rake is significant. Do not talk yourself into calls you cannot profitably navigate. Develop the habit of asking one question before you click call. How does this hand win the pot if I do not flop a set? If you cannot answer that, you are likely paying to miss. Key takeaway. Pocket pairs are not automatic calls or automatic stacks. Build your plan around position, players left to act, and squeeze risk. Open proactively, 3-bet your high pairs for value, and stop paying large preflop prices with small pairs unless you can win pots without needing to spike a set. Now, let's test your edge. Question 1. What core idea does the article say should replace thinking it's a pair when playing pocket pairs pre-flop? Answer, relative strength is everything, and pocket pairs should be treated as tiers. Explanation, the article emphasizes that a pocket pair's value changes with position, stack depth, and who is left to act, so you need tier-based plans rather than a one-size-fits-all approach. Question 2. Why does the article recommend raising rather than limping when you are first in with a pocket pair? Answer: raising buys initiative and denies opponents cheap equity realization, which also helps against rake. Explanation: passive lines let opponents see flops cheaply and realize equity, and the article notes that this donates to common online rake structures. Question 3. According to the heuristic in the article, which pocket pairs want a lot of 3-betting for value when facing an open? Answer: pocket jacks and better. Explanation: the text gives a clear guideline. Pocket jacks and better should be 3-bet frequently for value, while pocket 9s to pocket 10s mix and smaller pairs tend to call more in position. Question 4. The article says set mining is too shallow in modern online games. What is the main strategic problem with calling only to hit a set? Answer: you under-realize equity when you miss, which lets good opponents see bet and pressure you into folding too much. Explanation: beyond the raw flop frequency, the article stresses that a hit set or fold plan becomes exploitable and misses other profitable paths like winning at showdown or forcing folds with aggression. Question 5. In the squeeze trap pocket 8s scenario, small blind calls, big blind squeezes, button calls, what does the article say is the best plan in most pools when action returns to you? Answer: fold. Explanation: the article explains that calling creates a bloated, raked, out-of-position, multi-way 3-bet pot, where your equity realization is poor and you face heavy pressure on many boards. Study hard, play smart. That's it for now. I'll see you in the next lesson.